going to talk about security on your Zoom Sunday school meetings or whatever kind of meeting you're having. So, what you'll do first is go to your Zoom page. It's zoom.us. And if you're using Zoom, you should already have an account. If not, you can sign up for one. And then you go to My Account. And let's schedule a meeting. So let's say it's going to be, we're going to call the meeting Sunday School. You could put your name if you wanted to do that. We could say David uh, Flat Class. And then you want to schedule when it's going to be. And so you want to schedule it for Sunday. And let's say you want to do it at 9 o'clock. Want to make sure you click AM. And then you want to make sure you're in the right time zone. Central time zone. Just so everybody's on the same page. You can make it a reoccurring meeting and say do it weekly. It repeats every week on Sunday, and then you can choose the date to end it. Let's say we're really hopeful and that we believe by the end of April we'll be through with some of this, and so we set that as the end date. You'll notice here that it has a password. Before, you could choose whether or not to have a password. With all the problems, Zoom has required a password for every meeting, so you don't have to do that. It's already going to be in there. As you see here, you can decide if you want the host, which is you, to have their video on, and the participant to have their video on. These are a couple of the things I would do. I would mute everyone as they come on. That way you don't hear the dog barking, somebody eating, whatever's going on. You don't hear all that background noise. And then I would enable waiting room. And waiting room means that the host of the meeting has to, a little note will pop up and say, David Flat wants to join the meeting. And the host has to click on it to let them in the meeting. These two things will get rid of most of the problems of somebody trying to get into your account. So you save that, and then this is what your meeting looks like. And one problem, you notice your meeting ID is right here, your password is right there. One problem that some people had is they just copied the URL and put that in an email. Now that you have to have a password, if you'll come over here and click copy the invitation, and you see this gives you all the information about your meeting, that it's going to happen every week at 9 o'clock. Here's the URL, there's the meeting ID, and there's the password. And so you click meeting invitation again, and then what I would do is I would go to my email. If I'm going to send this out to adult Sunday school teachers, I would do that. Come up with some subject, just call it Sunday school, and then you can copy the invitation into your email. Now, if it's me, I'm going to get rid of some of this extraneous information, like all this right in here. I went a little bit too hard, but just because I think there's so much, it's almost overload. What they need is join the meeting, the link, the meeting ID, and the password. So I would even come down here and all this stuff beyond that, I would get rid of that as well. And I left a little bit by mistake. So I would get rid of all that as well. And that's all they really need. When it comes in their email, this URL will actually be in the form of a link that makes it very easy for them. So let's go back to the Zoom meeting itself. And so we're back here, and let's say that we start the meeting. Okay, you notice I'm joining you from Crater Lake National Park. That's a virtual background. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But a couple of the things you can do to enhance your experience. We've already talked about muting it. We've already talked about the ID and the password. And you can come down here to screen share and go to advanced settings and make it where only the host can share a screen. That's where a lot of people have had problems. People get into the meeting by hacking into it, and then they post inappropriate pictures or slogans or whatever, just people being awful. And so if you make it where only the host can share, then you control what goes up on the screen. One thing that you can do, and I don't know how well this would work unless you have a very small class and that you know when all your people are there, you can come down to manage participants, and that is not it. That is not what I wanted to see. I promise you, I did this a minute ago and it worked. You can come over here to the right where it says more, and you can actually lock the meeting, which means nobody else can come in. If you knew everybody that was supposed to be there was there and you wanted to do it, that's one other layer you could go to. But real quickly, let's talk about virtual backgrounds and screen sharing. So if you come over to video, click the arrow on the right of that, you see it says choose virtual background. And it'll give you some here. And this is my favorite. That's a picture I put in there. That won't be on your screen, but that's me before I comb my hair this morning. But you can pick any of those. If you don't like what they offer, you can hit the plus sign and it will take you to your desktop or somewhere on your computer, and as long as you know where to find pictures, you can pick any picture that you want. I'm going to go back to the virtual background of Crater Lake. So that's how you do that. And then screen share, kind of a cool feature. If you hit screen share, the first thing you can do that's really helpful is you can hit your desktop. And what that means is whatever's on your desktop is going to show on their screen. So for instance, let's say you wanted to share a YouTube video. You just go to YouTube. You pick the video that you want to show. Wait till you can get to where you can skip the ads. You can play it and take up the whole screen if you want to. And they're going to see whatever's on your desktop.
That was a clip from the new movie I Still Believe, which is in theaters this Friday,
and then when
March
you get
13th.
through, you come up here to the top, hit that red button, and
film,
that's going to cut your desktop off.
Welcome. Thank you. Congratulations on this film. I mean,
And another cool feature of screen share is you can put on a whiteboard and it makes your screen look like a marker board. Now, if you're a really good drawer, you can try to draw some letters on here. I tried it. I was terrible at it. But anybody can text. So you come down here and let's say you're in Romans 1 and you wanted to ask a question to your class. What were some of the sins that Romans 1 verse 18 talked about? And you might say idolatry, sexuality, and you can just list them just as if you were writing on a marker board in your class. Again, this screen sharing, allowing people in, all these things I think will work much better if you let someone besides the teacher be the host, because they can be doing all these things in the background and you can just focus on the lesson. So again, when you get through, you come up here to stop share and it puts you back in the regular Zoom meeting. So those are just some ways to make your meeting a little more secure. And you certainly wouldn't want somebody coming in and disrupting your meeting, which people are trying to do now. And more than likely, people will figure out that a lot of church people are on early on Sunday morning, and they might try to do that. So there's just some helpful hints on how you can do that. I hope that this was helpful.